Black people are more in 2026 than white people. I said it.
Disagree with you on
Okay,
that. Like
bet.
1,000. I'm gonna disagree with you on that. What about the other kids that learned just narratives that day or those days where their parents would come and spit at a black person, right?
Yeah.
That's trying to get an education. Where does that information go? Does that level of hatred just disappear because we no longer are in like
I live my life. Everything is not about race all the time. It's about the facts. But like if a black person get killed, I'm not just automatically thinking it's because he's racist. Like that's not my first thing I look at. I look at the facts. I look at what happened. When our frames become so racial that everything is a white person's fault because of what they did, I feel like we're losing like
I
that.
think we can acknowledge the truth, right? Like we can acknowledge.
You don't know if America will consider black people how they're supposed to be considered. So how are we marginalized in 2025?
How are we marginalized?
Well, not even marginalized. How are we not considered that we should be considered? Because I feel like we considered like the same as a white person or a Mexican person.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in certain senses, like I see what you're saying, right? Like, is it easier for us in today's society? Yes, right. Like, can we, walk into more rooms than we could have 50 years ago? Yes, but like that doesn't change the way that we are policed in this country, the way that we are treated, like from what's the word, from like doctors, like the medical industry doesn't change. Like what I'm talking about is like more systematic, right? Like there, like the way that the system was designed, you know racism, um these things show up, right? It lingers, right? It's not just because we don't walk out the door and dogs are getting sicked on you and what you getting splashed with water hoses every single day. It doesn't mean that like those same forces are not present in different ways.
So, question: because if we talk about system, there is no law that says black people should be treated different than white people. In 2026, I know I said 2025. But in 2026, there's no law. I feel like that's a matter of the heart because everybody experience is different, right? My tags are out of my car. Every time I get pulled over, it's by a white person. They're cool and they let me go. Everybody experience is different, right? I can just probably speak on my experience, but there's no system law that says black people are marginalized. Okay, when you talk about data for doctors, I remember it's a stat with like black women in terms of like having birth. It's like black women like die way more than white women or something like that. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to when it comes to like.
I mean, I'm talking about that. I'm just talking about like I just seen a fact online that said that, like, it was talking about how cameras, right? When cameras were first built, like basically it was talking about how cameras were built for white skin, right? Cameras weren't really built, like when they were building cameras and testing them out, they didn't really test them out on black people a lot. So that's why a lot of times, like, historically you see black pictures or pictures of black people and you'll see like their eyes red or like they got like look shades darker than what they normally do. And it's the reason why it was even it's a topic is because like they're trying to train AI so much now with software and facial recognition. And the problem is AI is having a harder time identifying black people because the images that they're feeding it, black people are looking way darker or than what they actually are. And that's because the way that the camera was designed, it wasn't designed to fully capture our skin complexion. So that's like a very small example, but um that speaks to what I'm saying, right? That speaks to what I'm saying as far as black people being considered, right? Like, um, while again, while you may get pulled over and you personally may not experience like racism or anything like that in that particular moment, but like trust me, bro, you're not exempt from being the next news highlight if they wanted
I
to,
think I
like,
am.
if they wanted to do that, like, truly.
I think I am.
You think you're exempt?
I think I'm exempt from the standpoint of like I won't act a fool. Like even if we like okay, this ICE agent that just killed that white woman.
Mhm.
So
murder
we're
by
just
the
going
way.
to that's another can of worms, but we're just gonna act like that didn't happen
In the
from a
sense,
standpoint of like if that was a black person, every black person would be like, "Oh, he's racist. He killed her because he's racist."
yeah,
But white people are not even thinking about that.
yes they
Okay,
are. Yes they are. But you're
they're
right.
thinking that it's because he's
You,
racist and it
you're
was a
no, no,
white
no. I'm
person.
not saying they thinking that they're racist, but like there is outrage. Like I thought you were about to say that like there's no outrage from white people
No,
about that. There
it's
is
more
definitely
so
outrage.
race.
Okay.
I think the more question the outrage is the ICE agent having the legal grounds and why is that being like why is that a thing versus like race?
Hmm.
Okay, white you can say white people didn't have to go through police brutality
Hmm.
how we have, but remember we just talked about marketing and propaganda.
Hmm.
They highlight what they want to highlight,
Hmm.
meaning like anytime there's a black person that dies through police brutality, they highlight it to push a narrative. Same thing with ICE. They're highlighting this so much because there is a objective they want to push. Because, in my opinion, I think the ICE agent did self defense. He was about to get ran over and shot. So he's supposed to get ran over? Like, I'm confused. Like, was he supposed to get ran
I
over?
so I didn't see the video.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't see the video. So have a hard time. I would have a hard time like actually speaking on it because I didn't see the video,
Makes
so I
sense.
don't know exactly what happened. But
Okay.
um, your point, right? Like I guess if that was a black person, like, are you saying that there would be like obviously like more outrage, and you're saying it's less outrage because of who it was?
No, I'm saying that white people are not saying she got killed because she's white. If that was a black
Because who
person,
gets killed because they white? Like that's never been a thing.
and I know you was gonna say that, but I'm just saying perspective because
I'm just saying that's. I mean, I'm not,
good
and I'm
point.
not,
Good
and I
point.
don't want to be like, because are there some people that have died because of like hate crimes and things like that? 100%.
Yeah.
But like, when have we ever historically documented or seen, white people be persecuted at large rates? Right? We've
That's a good
only
point.
seen that done to black people. So when I make a lot of my claims, or if I'm like a lot of my stances are, um, yeah, like I'm just not willing to forget, like just to say okay it's better now, so things are better now than they ever been, but I'm willing to just like excuse or sweep it under the rug or continue as if like we're still not dealing with you know repercussions from that. Like it's people's they selling weed all over this country, and it's people still sitting in jail for weed charges, right? Black people who were locked up at a disproportionately higher rate, right? Like um the police force in itself. Do you realize that there was no need for a police force prior to slaves being released? So, meaning when slaves were, when this country still participated in slavery, white people didn't have a police force against themselves, right? They didn't introduce police forces until we became free people and they felt a need to govern us, right? And that's just an extension of slave patrol, right? The modern day police officer is an extension of slave patrol.
But do white people get arrested
Do white people get arrested?
or in jail?
1,000%, yeah.
So that's my point, Neil. And I think kind of so my perspective is in 2026, bro. I'm not saying I forgot about it. I'm just saying we need to forgive and move past because it's like,
What do we get from that?
what do we get
What do
from
we get from?
holding on to it?
Okay, when you say forgive and move past, right?
Yeah,
I'm just curious to understand, like, what does that look like for you?
I live my life. Everything is not about race all the time. It's about the facts. If a fact presents itself that says it's race, then I'm willing to look at it. But like if a black person get killed, I'm not just automatically thinking it's because he's racist. Like that's not my first thing I look at. I look at the facts. I look at what happened, and then I make an accurate conclusion based upon the facts, not based upon racial lens. So that's what I say. Or even
But would you ignore the racial lens if like would you like do you ignore that perspective?
so, if there's facts to back it, meaning like, okay, let's say a white person killed a black person on police brutality, but
Mm-hmm.
he was making social media posts about the KKK.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact that I could then put into the equation. But just because he's white and he killed a black person, I don't just automatically just look at race. Like that ain't the first thing that pop up. And I feel like with a lot of black people, that's just the first thing that pop up. And that's not logical. Like it's emotional. Why is it emotional? Because like we were talking
It's
about
trauma.
trauma.
It's a lot of pain. Yeah.
So I feel like we gotta operate from logic because emotions we could get construed it based off of that. So I'm not saying racism does not exist. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like white people just don't look at that like anything that happened like the first thing like, oh, that's racism. And arguably, this is my take. This could be a hot take. Black people are more racist in 2026 than white people. I said it. I said it.
How? I see. I'm a agree
That's
with you.
how I
I'm a
said.
disagree with you on
Okay,
that. Like
bet.
1,000. I'm a disagree with you on that
So you asked me
because
why? Can I explain?
well, my fundamental
Okay,
belief
bet.
number one is that black people cannot be racist.
That's why black
So
people are
so
racist.
I don't think that you can like can you be prejudiced against another group of people? Can I judge you before I know you? Can I look at you and say, I don't like you because it's based off of, your skin color or the way that you look or the way that you talk or whatever or what you believe? I'm capable of all of those things, but am I capable of inflicting mass incarceration on a group of people, not just white people, but any group of people? Am I or my community have the power, right? Are black businesses able at large scale to say this a black only counter, right? And still survive? Because you got to think like companies actually did that during like segregation and they were still getting supported, right? Like so um I don't know. I definitely don't subscribe to that. I don't think that black people can be racist because we don't possess the power to systematically inflict our will on another group of people.
So that exactly why I said black people are more racist in 2026 than white people was like literally what you just said.
That can't be that
Like, cause
like that can't be your
check me out, check
that
me
don't
out,
work.
check
But go
me out.
ahead.
So if I'm a black police officer and I kill somebody that's white because they're white, am I not racist? Am I not racist?
For if that's the sole reason, that's racist. Yeah.
So how can black people be racist if we just said a black person
I'm
is
not.
racist because of that?
Okay. That is yes. So what you just did was you you judge somebody, right? Like that was prejudice. Number one, was it racist? Yes, right. But like okay, is that one individual act considered racist? Yes, that would be technically considered racist. But for me to have enough like gall to say, bro, like black people in 2026 are more racist than any other group of white people.
So white people.
I can't agree with that. I really couldn't agree with that because there's no way that we like I said like there's no way for us to systematically like even if a black cop shoots a white guy just for the basis of him being white, right? Even if that were to happen, which rarely does, right?
Agreed.
If it has happened, I don't know, but rarely does. And I'm pretty sure that black officer would like it's not going to be one of those situations like where when a white officer kill a black person and
He gonna be
he get
lynched.
off, this white cop he's getting lynched, brother. Like he's not
Wow,
like
lynched in 2026.
not 2026, but he's not lynched on a
We're
tree.
not in
But what I'm
1975
not
now.
lynched, but what I'm saying is like,
I know that's probably a
bro,
obviously.
he's cooked. Like
Yeah,
like
for
he'll
sure.
get his like he's gonna lose opportunities. He's gonna get a higher punishment, right? Like the stats show, black people are punished at a higher level than white people. Like if I'm just saying, like, do we ignore those numbers, right? Do we ignore that completely? Do we ignore the strategic positioning that McDonald's has placed in every, hood? Or do we ignore the strategic positioning that like other communities come in, they put liquor stores in our neighborhood? Do we just ignore that? Because we don't have the ownership, the resources to control what comes in and out. I'll give you an example. Um, Most of the time, like, you know, when a business is coming or like a new business is coming to an area, they'll have like homeowners associations, or they'll have like community meetings, and they'll talk about, what's coming to the area. And a lot of times, like, if a community doesn't want a particular business or something to be coming into the area, they can protest it, or they can, all agree and come against it. Now, I don't know like what goes into how that decision ultimately gets made, but I do know that in communities where there is ownership, people can come to the table and bring and make decisions, right? If you and all of our people live in, are all we all rent our homes, and we all, none of us own anything. We have no decision making power. We can't come to the table and make a real decision, right? We are at will to everything that's kind of happening around us.
So just so I'm clear, your definition of racism is you can only be racist if you can systematically influence.
Yeah, like for example, like yes,
So
yes,
I don't think that's the case, because I think racism is like the situation we just said. If I'm a police officer and I shoot a white guy, that's racist. But I didn't systematically influence anything. That wasn't a system.
yeah. I just think like okay,
And then check me out, Lil.
individually. Okay, go
Check
ahead.
me
Go ahead.
out. So even like if I'm a black guy and I see a white guy, and I'd be like, I fucking hate you. You fucking Lord, Lord forgive me. This is literally hypothetically. I fucking hate you because you're white. That's racist.
Hmm.
Like, and I think a lot of black people, bro. Let's be honest, bro. A lot of locker room talk and I guess people I know. It's a lot of locker room talk about white people that is like super racist. They probably had the same conversations. I don't know, but it's like I feel like it's more socially accepted for a black person to have a negative comment about a white person that be accepted socially versus the opposite. A white person, like if a white person on TV probably say something about a black person, like it's gonna be more outraged than the opposite in this day and age. 100%. Like because I've seen it. Like we could pull up clips.
But as a product of like, generations of like chattel slavery and trauma, is that not justified?
So that's why I say
Is that not justified? Like, and I'm not saying
no. Two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right, bro.
I don't know. I actually like definitely disagree, because like I don't know how you could, like I don't even know how you could still see certain people in positive lights. Like how are you still able to like okay? Because my
They
thing
didn't
is like
do it,
if
bro. They didn't do it.
okay, all right. So
Their
like
ancestors did. How can they control that? Like you said, we were saying earlier, they just woke up one day and was on Earth. So they should be looked at differently. They should be marginalized. Yes, marginalized because they woke up one day and they were white. No, like that's not their.
it's
They
not
had zero
because they woke
control.
up one day and were white. Like, I don't think that has ever been the problem. It's because you believe that you're inherently better. You believe that you are supreme. You are over another group of people,
So
right?
all white people don't think like that though.
But I'm saying the reason we even having this conversation is because a lot of people did, and we live in like we are living in the remnants of that society, right? Like we live in that. This is the aftermath of a racist society where millions of white people did not like black people. And I'm not on here. This isn't like a white person hate account. I'm not saying that. Like this isn't what that is. Like truly, because if it wasn't for white people that decided this, isn't right, we wouldn't be here. Really,
Yeah,
truthfully, like
yeah,
we couldn't have gotten out of our situation on our own. It
for
took
sure.
white people to say, "Hey, and not only that, but like if you even look at like the Civil War and like what caused the South to rebel, and like what caused all of that stuff to happen, it was like slave labor made it hard for poor white people in the North, right? If I was poor in the North, and it like basically like slave labor is the cheapest, easiest labor to acquire, right? But if I'm a white man of very little means and I live up north, right? Like where slavery isn't as like basically what I'm saying is the 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 north what is it called, like whatever the north part of the
I
Civil War
forgot.
was,
Yep.
northern colonies, whatever.
Yep.
They understood that like slavery as a system isn't beneficial for the whole country long term, right? It makes more sense for everybody to let them be free. So even us being free was more of a business decision than it was a moral, oh, this isn't right, like we got to free the people. It was more like, hey, this is like, it's a business decision ultimately. So again, like I don't know, I don't think we could just ignore that. It was too much pain, too much trauma. I don't think like for you to talk the way that you talk sometimes, I feel like you probably don't speak to enough black elders that have firsthand experience, because that's different. Like when you look at the world as it is today from the perspective that we have, it's pretty easy to miss it, right? Like I just read my kids the story of like Ruby Bridges, and Ruby Bridges is the same age as my dad. Ruby Bridges was the first uh, African American girl in Louisiana to go to a school that was integrated with white people, right? And every single day on her way, like basically the whole school was an all white school. Um, she was going to school every single day. They or I think she had moved to a different town, and her family had she was selected, one of like three kids to go to this new school. She was the only one to go, and all the white kids, and white parents took all their kids out of the school. So for like half a school year, Ruby Bridges went to school every single day and was the only kid in the school. No other kids like was there. And not only did she go, not only did she was she the only person at the school, but on the on a walk to school every day, there were like a mob of white people, reporters, angry people with signs calling her, N words and racist things every single day. And this is a kid. This isn't. I'm talking about like a 5-year old, 4-year old, somebody that's in elementary school, and they were doing this to her every single day, right? And this happened for about 6 months. People got tired of showing up every day spewing hatred, until a couple families decided like they were tired of having their kids stay at home, so they sent their kids back to school, and then slowly everybody else started to follow, and then we get integrated schools because it becomes normal. But my point is, my dad's the same age as her. She's still alive today, and she experienced that racism, that level of hatred in her lifetime. Do you
Okay.
think? Do you think Ruby Bridges would say that black people are more racist in 2025 than whites? Do you think she would agree with that?
Probably
You think she would? You think she would
in
agree with that?
2026.
Or 2026? Sorry.
No, I'm not gonna say that but I'm saying in 2026 because how old is your father?
1954, 70 what? 71 or
Okay.
72 now this year.
So I don't know when Ruby Bridges' story happened, but that's why I said in
I
2026.
mean, it happened early. Like she was born in 54. I think it happened in like 1960.
That's 40.
But what I'm
That's
saying is
65
like she's
years.
alive. Like that happened
But she can
to
have a
her.
forgiving heart though.
Okay, so
What if she
if
can have a
she's
forgiving
still
heart?
alive, what about all the like the white kids that went to school with her? Right? What about the racist kids? Like, okay, so it was racist, and I gotta show you the story, but like there was racist people every single day coming with angry signs. What about the people that were showing up? What about the other kids that learned racist narratives that day or those days where their parents would come and spit at a black person, right?
Yeah.
That's trying to get an education. Where does that information go? Does that level of hatred just disappear because we no longer are in, like, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying
Does
that white people don't
like
have
do
racism.
they not have conversations like behind closed doors that we never understand? Like
And we do too.
of course, but
But
We also weren't
I'm not making the point that white people are not racist. That's
okay.
not the point. I'm
Okay.
saying black people are more racist, and
Mm-mm.
it's more socially accepted in 2026 than a white person being racist. It is definitely more socially accepted. That's 100%. Because again, if somebody goes on TV and a black person makes a racially leading comment, I done seen Stephen A. Smith do it. I done seen, and I love Stephen A. Smith. He done did it and he gonna got away with it. If it was his white counterpart, bro, he would be chopped up, bro.
Hmm.
He would be chopped.
That's interesting.
Bro, it's facts, bro.
I wouldn't say that's
It's
facts. I can't.
facts.
I
Like
can't. I can't call it.
bro, it's fact. It's socially accepted, bro.
Yeah.
A black person go on social media and dog a white person, and people are just gonna be like, "Oh, well, it's because black people can't be racist."
Nah.
That's it. You hit it right on the nail. Neil, it's more socially accepted because black people feel that black people cannot be racist. Because it's a lot of black people that feel the same way you feel, bro.
I don't know, bro. I just think like
I'm just so this is where I'm coming from. You still like I don't connect with the elderly in their perspective. Okay, that could be true. Okay, but I say as a black people in the black race, we need to move forward. Not saying we forget, but we forgive and don't look at everything from a lens of racism or race. Everything that shouldn't be our first lens. That should never be our first lens. Okay, but you can say, but that was their first lens. We gotta forgive and forget because another thing with trauma, if you stick in that trauma, you can't grow in other facets of your life because you're so worried, or that's like subconsciously such a thing that it's like, and you're marginalizing yourself. Like you feel like you start feeling like you less than subconsciously. You probably don't think it constantly. I'm not speaking about you. I'm just speaking about subconscious and conscious. Like all that baggage, you can start feeling that.
nah, bro. When a person show you who they are, you supposed to listen.
Bro,
Fuck that, bro.
Neil, I agree.
Listen. I just think
we
okay,
talking about a race
you don't
though.
touch a stove and get burned and think okay, I'm gonna come back and touch it again and it ain't gonna happen. You learn from cause and effect. I think over time we have seen like bro, they used to eat us. They used to harvest our teeth. They would take our skin and make little characters out of it. They would take our hair and put it on a doll and keep it in their house.
So
And
if a white
what I'm
5-year
saying
old,
is we're not far from that. Like they taught that to their kids.
so
like,
a white 5-year old is
it
responsible
takes
for that.
it takes white people that actually want to do the right thing and have positive views. Do you know how hard it is for them to enact change in their households if they exist within race? Like basically, if they have a racist household, you know how hard it is for, like, let's say, okay, I'm not racist, right? I was born in 2000. My favorite artist is Lil Bow Wow. Growing up, I like Chris Brown. I like black people. My best friend's black, right? Those people, right? When they come to realize and love our culture, love our food, love everything about us, right? But let's say like they still got racist family. Their uncles, their dad, they don't want them to date no white boy, or I mean date no black boy. They don't want them to step outside their race in that sense. But when those kids come back home and they would say, okay, try to change the minds of their family members, that's very difficult to do, right? Like what I'm saying is racism and hatred is deep rooted. It's learned behavior, right? People have to teach it. And we are not a hating people. And if we were racist, listen to me. If we was racist, you would see way more get back than you see in society right now.
Because
We got arms. We got
We're not a
arms.
hating people.
What I'm saying is, if we
not a
actually
hater.
listen to me, bro, because I'm telling you that I think that if we was actually as racist as you're saying that black people are, then we would have been up imposed on them, bro. Instead of us, like,
No, that's not what I'm saying.
because
You're
that's what it's,
missing the point.
that's the extent of their racism on us. Their racism didn't say
In 2026.
in 2026.
In 2026, they're up imposed on us.
No, obviously
Nigga,
not.
that's what I'm talking about, gang. Like, we have to understand. We can't be going back 50 years. If we're gonna go back to 1950s, 1900s, 1800s, then you won. Yes, they're more racist, but we're talking about 2026, bro. And then another thing is, like,
Nah, bro.
a 5-year-old white guy, a 5-year-old white male should not be subjugated to what his ancestors did. And you said we're not a hating people. I would even challenge that because we're not up imposed on white people, but who we up impose on? Our own counterparts.
Where do we learn that? Where do you learn that? Like, where do we learn the level of hatred that exists within us? We didn't, like, black people didn't. Black people.
Well, let's keep it one step at a time, though.
I'm just saying, where do we learn that behavior, bro? You think that's like? I'm just curious. Like, spanking children. Where did that come from?
I mean, you could go back to biblical. It's in the Bible. Spoil the rod, spare the child. I mean, spare the rod, spoil the child. And you could say, "Oh, that's white people put it there." That's been in there, bro. That's been in there. And we talking about before 1800s. That's been in there. Before the 1800s, that's been in there. In fact, that.
Yeah.
So that's biblical. That's a lot of layers you can even pull back on that. Cause like I'd rather me spanking my children than somebody on the street doing it.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I have a completely different way of seeing this topic. I don't. Again, like
But
we're not in it.
you said we're not
There's
hating
what
people. Why are we up imposing on our own brothers? It's the white people's fault. Everything can't be the white people's fault, Neil. Like we that's what I'm saying. Like when our frames become so racial that everything is a white person's fault because of what they did, I feel like we're losing like
no,
that.
I'm not, and I'm not even like, I'm not even the type of guy that's like running from accountability, right? But because I think we can acknowledge the truth, right? Like we can acknowledge, and what I'm saying, I believe is to be true, right? We can acknowledge the truth in what I'm saying and still take accountability in our actions, right? We can still be able to point out at each other, hey, when
But you
we're
said we're
wrong.
not a hating people, and that's what I'm saying.
I gotta use the restroom real quick.
I bet.
Pause.